Good afternoon and welcome everyone. My name is Gustavo Gordillo, a risk coordinator at the Business Recovery Center and Impact Beaverton. Today we are the honor to host our presenter, Kathy Bazan, with a great topic, social media 104, facing into Facebook. Oh, Kathy, I use the tips to improve my post titles, and it really works. Thank you for those wonderful tips. Welcome, Kathy. After the presentation, we will open up for a question and answer on recording, so everyone feels comfortable to make any questions. As the presentation rolls, please put your question in the chat box and we will do our the best to address every one of them. And we have the interpreter, Jessica Honors. He's joins today. Thank you, Jessica, and welcome everyone. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you, Gustavo. That was a lovely introduction. If you haven't already done it, please go to the bottom of your screen and select interpretations so that you can select English or Spanish, and you'll be able to follow right along with what we're doing. Wonderful. Well, my name is Kathy Bazan, as Gustavo said. I have been teaching a series of classes for the Beaverton BRC. The other ones are actually archived on the Beaverton Chamber of Commerce website. So if you want to see the earlier ones, which were on how to create content, how to design a website, what you need to know about blogging, please feel free to go there, because much of the information that I cover on how to write content is there. I'm going to be going through it briefly here, but it's simply as a review. So anyway, we're going to talk about facing into Facebook. And this class is actually going to be going behind the scenes of Facebook. Okay. The Business Recovery Center was started by money from the CARES Act. It is now being continued by money from the American Rescue Plan Act. Gustavo and I and the other counselors in Forest Grove as well as Hillsborough provide you with one-on-one counseling that is confidential. So if you have any questions about how to get access to capital, write social media, write a business plan, we're here for you. I'm Kathy Bazan. The reason that I'm teaching this series is that for a company called CPA Excel, I wrote enough content for their Facebook page to grow the page from 0 to over 9,500 likes in 2.5 years. And I never bought an ad. I grew the blog in 9 months from 0 to over 100 organic hits a day. That's people we didn't have to pay for, who were coming to learn about how to pass the CPA exam from us. So what I'm going to be doing is sharing my secrets with you. All right, what is Facebook? Well, we know it is a social media platform, of course, but it's a way for you to recruit new clients as well as retaining and engaging the current clients who are following your Facebook page. This is a really good question. When do your customers check their profile page or their Facebook profile or their Facebook page? Should put it that way. What we find is that whatever the time zone is, people tend to check their Facebook page at 8 in the morning when they wake up, at noon, and at 5 in the afternoon. Now, I've given you the Pacific times for this. Obviously, 8 a.m. in the Pacific is actually 11 a.m. on the East Coast. So know where your clients are, and then know to put your content up when they're looking at their pages. As with any aspect of business, whether you're running a market, whether you make widgets, whatever the situation is, you need to have a plan for what you're going to do on Facebook. You need to create a posting schedule. That means you have written down somewhere how many times during the month you're going to put new content up on Facebook. You need to know what the best practices and the best results are for the industry as a whole, not just for you. You need to be able to measure your success, realize that advertising might be optional for you. A lot of people try to talk their clients into doing lots of advertising. I don't, because if your content is strong enough, you do not need to advertise. And you also need to know what you're not allowed to do on Facebook so you don't make any mistakes. There are two opposite theories for why you want to include Facebook for your business. And a Facebook business page is different from a Facebook personal page. So please understand, you have to have a personal page first, and then you create the business page. So there are two opposite theories here. If your goal is to get on Google's page 1, the holy grail of social media, there's one way to do that. But if your goal is to be active on Facebook, meaning that you're putting up content a lot of different times during the week so that people are following you just to see what's new and different, that's actually a totally different goal. All right, so what do you want to do if you want to get onto Google's page 1? You want to write content that has 300 or more words in it. This is really not difficult. So if you happen to be a career counselor, you might write 300 words on how to set up the top part of your resume with your address, your name, your contact information. And really getting to that 300 words is quite easy. You do want to add an image or a photo that is 500 by 500 pixels or smaller. The reason is that content that you put up that has pictures has a much higher open rate. We're going to get into that. You do want to use 2 to 3 short tail or 1 long tail keyword in your content. This is covered in depth in the 101 class, so please go back and review. Within a 7-day period, you want to post a 300-word article on your blog and on your Facebook business page. If you do that once a month, then Google knows you're alive. Why is it important for you to be on Google's page 1? Well, according to Neil Patel, who is a highly recognized social media expert, 75% of people will never scroll past the first page on a Google search. So if you happen to be a hair salon, you need to be on page 1. If you're on page 2, you really need to try to get on page 1 because only 25% of the people will go to page 2. If your goal is to be active on social media, let's say you're a restaurant, you're in fashion, you're trying to be an influencer in either one of those areas, then your content length can actually be shorter, can be 100 to 300 characters or about 3 lines instead of 300 words. Keywords are almost optional when you're doing something that short. You do want to add an image or a photo so that if you're talking about a particular type of scarf that has come on the market, you can show a picture of that color of the scarf and that fabric. You do want to include a call to action. To order this scarf, click here, right? You want to post 3 times per week at specific times of the day. So you might do Monday at 8 o'clock, you might do Wednesday at noon, you might do Friday at 5 o'clock, or reverse that, whatever you want to do. So how can Facebook get you onto Google's page 1? Well, it's actually very simple. Google, because 86% of all searches are conducted on Google, Google writes the rule book. Google requires that you have new content on your website. That could be a web page, a landing page, a Facebook, or excuse me, a blog post, and that you also add new content to your social media. So you can take the blog post, change the title, change the first paragraph, a couple of days later, put it on Facebook. What Google wants to see is that you're active both on site, on your website, and off site in social media. If you do that, and the content has those keywords in it, you're much more likely to start moving towards page one. It may take a while, but at least you're moving. Facebook has over 2.7 billion active monthly users. It's the largest social media channel in the world, which is why it's lovingly referred to as Facebookistan. Instead of Pakistan or Afghanistan, it's Facebookistan. So being on Facebook potentially puts you in front of a lot of folks. Okay, so you've decided you want to be on Facebook. Yay! What do you do next? Well, you need a really secure password, hence those chains to show how secure it is. And you want to make your Facebook password different from any of your other passwords. The reason is if somebody hacks into your bank account and your bank account happens to be the same as your Facebook password, they can also get into Facebook. So you just want to be careful, create a different password. According to review42.com, there are 2.5 billion accounts hacked in 2018. That's 158 accounts every second. With the pandemic, that number accelerated. We don't have an accurate number at this point. So long story short, you want a really secure password. And if your other passwords aren't particularly secure, you may want to go back with these hints and make another one. All right, so how do you create a secure password? Number one, you're looking for 15 characters or longer. The reason is that in 2012, there was a hacker who actually built a cluster, which is a password unlocker, call it that. He could crack any 8-character Windows password in 6 hours. So the longer your password, the less likely it is to get broken into. You don't want to use common substitutions like a B for an 8 or an 8 for a B, either one. You do want to misspell words. So sailing might suddenly show up with a Y in it in your password. And you don't want to use sequential letters or numbers, 1, 2, 3, ABC. Way too easy to hack. World's dumbest passwords. I thought I'd give you a look at these. These are the 10 world's dumbest passwords. They actually exist out there. Please don't use them. Somebody who thought that if they had more numbers, it would be harder to hack wasn't quite on target when they did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Too easy. So get more difficult. As I mentioned, the very first thing you need to have on Facebook is a personal profile. This one happens to be mine. That's my son and his paternal grandparents in Sedona. Anyway, once you've got a personal profile or a personal page, you can then put that on the highest level of security so that only friends can see it, only people you invite. That way, you're not going to get hammered with all those requests from individuals you've never met in other countries suddenly wanting to be your best friend. Oh, sure. On your personal profile, you can share information about your kids, your latest travels, your cat, your cockatoo, whatever you want to do. So you would never want to mention your business on your personal profile. That's why you want a business page. Now, you need to set up a 2-factor authentication. This makes it so much harder for somebody to break in. You want to go to your security and login settings. You want to scroll down until you see use two-factor authentication and click edit. Then you can choose the security method you want to add and follow the on-screen suggestions. So you can get your login codes from a third-party authentication app where they just send you a randomly generated password, or most people tend to go for this one. You can have a text message sent to you, and that way that code is an easier option for you to get into Facebook. All right, let's create your business page. Your business page will help people learn about your business. What is it that you do? How can you be contacted? Where are you located? Basic information. So here's how we're going to go about it. This class is going to be much more technical than I normally do. So we're going to be looking at the different pages you need to go to get your business page set up. So on my home page, my personal profile, I'm going to click create, and there I get a drop-down menu. I can select page. That's a business page. Then it's going to ask me, is this a business page for business or brand? Answer the questions, you're off to the races. Pick an image which represents your business. Now, if you've got a brick and mortar, this could be a picture of the actual storefront that you have. If you sell products, it might be a table full of your different products. If you sell a service, it might be a picture representing that service. If you don't have an image, we can talk that over. If you don't have an image that you like for your business, you can go to pixels.com or unsplash.com. You can use images from either of those two sites for free, and you won't get into any copyright trouble by using those. So I'm starting my business page, and here we have small business counseling. I picked this picture of two women talking from, I think it was Pixels. So then I can upload a thumbnail of me. It could be a picture of me, could be the company logo. Under your thumbnail on the left-hand side of the screen, under that drop-down menu, you're going to see services. Click on services. Here on the left-hand side of the screen is what that services part of the page looks like. So you can tell what kind of a business you are. You can add your price per hour, describe what you do. How long is a typical appointment? You can add a logo. Now, if you're a market, if you're a women's boutique, you probably aren't going to answer that question, how long is a typical appointment, because people simply come in and shop. But if you're a professional, if you're a lawyer, a doctor, a career coach, a business coach, you might want to answer that question, how long is a typical appointment? You can add a logo, and then make sure you hit the save button. It's down there at the bottom on the right. You only see part of it, but at least you know where it is. Under your thumbnail, you can click see more. Here's some more content we can put in. A list of buttons which you can add. More information will appear. You can skip all the way down to posts, because we're going to talk about posts for a minute. A post is where you're going to put a piece of content that is 300 words or longer. This equates to your blog post, a LinkedIn update, whatever it is you're doing. So think about the kind of content that you're going to have going in here. You want to hover over the words write a post, and then copy and paste your content into that block. You can click down below to add a photo or video. You can add an image to it. Posts that have an image, photo, whatever, chart, they get opened at least 50% more. One study said it was 200% more. I'll go with the 50. Now, as you notice down here on the left, you'll see a picture of a young child with paint on their hands. Okay, so that's one image that I uploaded. If you look to the right, you'll see a very faint cross, a plus sign. That's where you can click on there and add a second image if you want to. Now, this particular article was all about making money from your art, hence the little kid with the finger paints. That would be my office assistant. His name is Jacques. So you want to look at the bottom of the screen on the right-hand side. You'll see that word post over there. When you're happy with the way your content looks on the page, when you're happy with the image, and I got that image from pixels.com, you can then click the post button. I do suggest that you then go back to your homepage. Go back to your homepage, look at the content, see if it laid out the way you wanted it to. You can still edit the content. It's okay. Don't fret. Okay, in the column, as you see over here on the left, you can click on posts. That will show you the most recent posts that you put up. If you scroll down, you're going to see the posts you put up previously, yesterday, last week, last month. So your newest content is always on top. It looks like this on your page when you get your first post up there. So congratulations, you posted content on your Facebook business page. And now, how do you grow your page? Well, if you have a personal profile, you probably have friends on there. One of the quickest ways to grow your business page is to invite those folks to like your business page. So if you send out this emails you see on the right to them, and it's a format that's in Facebook, so you don't have to write this thing. That's a great way to start growing your page. Now, let's go back. As you can see, you can edit page info at the top of your page. This gives you the opportunity to use your keywords and attract more people to finding your Facebook page. Quick review. Your keywords are like bait. So the bait that you would use to catch a salmon is going to be very different from the bait you use to catch, a yellowfin tuna. As a result, every type of job or service, every type of business has a different set of keywords. Short-tailed keywords are a noun or a noun cluster, group of nouns. A long-tailed keyword is a question. So where can I sit for the CPA exam is a long-tailed keyword. CPA exam is a short-tailed keyword. If you would like help on finding the keywords for your business, not the business down the street, let me know. I'm happy to help. So let's find my keywords. This is one way to do it. This is a website called Keyword Surfer. And if you have it on your Google search page, anytime you search for something, Keyword Surfer will automatically go out and start looking for keywords. So I put in business consulting, and as you see by the red, Keyword Surfer found certain words that ranked very highly and certain words that were kind of but gives me a list. If you look over here on the left, you're going to see a whole lot of words in blue. Those are keywords the Keyword Surfer found for me. When I'm doing content for what I call the back end of a Facebook page, in other words, these about me sections, description sections, stuff you really have to click on to go find, not just there it is on the homepage. I will be looking at these keywords that I'm seeing here in this list to create my content. So in this case, I'm going to use business coaching certification, small business coaching, female business coach, which I am, and business coach near me. And these keywords are going to go into my description so that people who are looking for a female business coach will be led to me. I can actually select under additional information up to 16 short-tail keywords and put them in there. And that way, anybody looking for those keywords on Google It's directed to me. When I'm working, I will actually compose in Word because it's easier for me, copy and paste it into these happy little Facebook blocks. As an example, here's what I did in putting together the description of my business. The keywords that I used are all in red so that you can see what I'm doing. By the way, this session is being recorded. I've already sent the slides to Gustavo. So in a few days or so, I don't know exactly when, he will send a link to you with this presentation. So you've got all these slides. You don't have to be furiously writing unless you want to. Okay. Load your content onto your page. Like I said, I was writing in Word, and then click that blue button down there that says Save Changes. Scroll down. There are more sections you can fill out. There are sections about your business address, and you can not only give the address, but you can usually put in there, you know, we're on the corner of 4th and Main, or we're across the street from Ace Hardware, whatever. You can talk about your company's ownership. Did you inherit this company from your parents? Did you start it in 2015? Is it now a limited liability company? You can fill in your contact information. So you've got a lot of different smaller boxes where you can put in information. For those of us who have been writing for Facebook for a while, this was a very sad day indeed. On Halloween last year, Facebook eliminated notes, and notes was a place where you could put a longer post. They now call the notes a post. Big deal. Anyway, so you are writing blog posts, Facebook posts, LinkedIn updates, Instagram stories, yada yada. Anyway, I think of it as a mean trick or treat. Now, what you want to do with any of the content that you're putting together, you do want to check your spelling and your word count. Many of these different little sections will say you're limited to 255 characters. Under review on Word, you can not only check how many words you have, but you can also check characters. And that way you know if you need to edit something down before you try to put it onto your Facebook page. What content will you post on your Facebook page? Well, you do need to write at least 300 words. That's Google's minimum for getting found. You do want to use 2 or 3 short-tailed keywords, that's a noun or a noun cluster, or use 1 long-tailed keyword. That could be a sentence, 5 super smart ways to pass the CPA exam, or it could be a question. How can I pass the CPA exam? You want to use an image that's 500 by 500 pixels or higher for an open rate. You want to write in a 4-to-1 ratio of information to me formation. Let me explain. Information tells about your business, what you sell, what you do, how you train to become this person. Me formation is I'm the best place to get what I just talked about in those 4 articles. So information could be, how can a business coach help you? Can a business coach help you write a business plan? Yes. Can a business coach help prepare my business to get a loan? Absolutely. Can I learn social media from a business coach? Indeed you can. All of those are long-tailed keywords. So they're information. You're educating and you're entertaining your readers so that they learn something they didn't know they needed to know. Me formation is I'm the best place to get what I just talked about. So as your business coach, I can help you pivot your marketing, write a business plan, use social media to increase sales, and help you apply for grants or loans. And obviously another, 275 words after that. So need to get up to that 300. All right. We know that an article and that could be a blog post, Facebook note, etc. We know that an article with an image is opened more than an article, a piece of content that doesn't have an image. So whether you're getting your images from a free site like Pixels or Unsplash, or whether you're getting them off of Google Images, I strongly suggest that when you're writing in Word, you take this step. So I copied the image I was going to use, and as you see in blue, I've got the link to exactly where I got that picture. The reason is that we're starting to see, as you see in the first bullet here, there's a cottage industry of lawyers who send out copyright infringement letters and demand $700 to $800 per image. If you can show from your Word files that you got that image from a free website, you can then prove to this lawyer that there's no reason for you to pay him or her. If you use a paid image service, Shutterstock, iStock, any of these others, save your receipts, because your receipts will say, bought an image of a boy looking at Northern Star. Then if somebody comes after you and says, boy looking at Northern Star is my image, you can say, yes, but I have the receipt that proves I have the right to use that image. If you can't prove where you got the image, you may have a problem with having to pay these people some money. Okay, another option, you can use your own images. I do suggest, though, because so many people have no respect for your copyright because you own those photos. They will scrape those photos, put them onto Google Images, use them on their own websites. So my suggestion is that if you're going to use your own image, you drop that image into a photo editing program like Photoshop and add a corner-to-corner watermark. Now, you're not going to see it because it's a very light image. But if somebody tries to take that and move it to another website or Google Images, they're going to see the watermark and they're going to know they can't touch your image. Every few months, I suggest you go to this website called tineye.com. You can actually search through there and find out if somebody has found the image that you took and is using it without your permission. Of course, then you can demand the $800 from them. Yay. All right, check your work. Facebook, along with other social media platforms, rewards us when we have done a certain amount of work. In this case, when you reach 35 likes on your business page, Facebook turns on Facebook Insights. This actually tracks the spikes when people engage with your page, what time of day. It can identify the 2 best times a day that you may want to put up content. And so then in the future, you can be putting up content right when your clients are there on your page. You do want to back up your content. Face it, computers are goofy. For that reason, back up your content to an external hard drive or a thumb drive, to the cloud, or old-fashioned way of doing it, print out hard copies. Scams are increasing. Stay alert. Phishing scams and smishing, that's a text scam, include, I need to transfer money from Nigeria into your account. Don't fall for that one. We are trying to deliver a package to your house. If you didn't order anything, it's a scam. It's about your vacation home. If you don't have a vacation home, it's a scam. Facebook needs your password. No, they don't. Any email asking for your password, whether it's your bank, Facebook, Google, they will not send you an email asking for it. Okay, the solution. Ask yourself, who is contacting me? Look at the URL and see if it's legit. That's at the top of the page. If it's not from a .com, it's probably a scam. So, and there are scams that are .coms, don't get me wrong, but at least if it says something else, .net, whatever, run away. Any reputable company is not going to email you and ask for your password. All right. Do you need to buy Facebook ads? In the lingo, this is called, do you want to boost your post? Well, it depends on what you're doing. The more unusual your activity, if you're an underwater basket weaver, the less likely it is that you need an ad. The more competitive your field is, you're a women's boutique, you're a market, you may want to think about ads. I'm not saying buy ads, I'm saying think about it. When I lived in Sedona, one of my clients owned a horse stable. Well, they noticed that they had lots of women who were willing to go on trail rides, but they couldn't get any guys out there. So I suggested that they do a beer tasting and trail ride. Oh, they thought that was a cool idea, especially if they brought in local craft beers, something that people outside the area might not have access to. So I wrote the post about how men could go on trail rides and do a beer tasting afterwards, and what beautiful scenery they would see in the high country of Arizona. Long story short, we boosted that post to what I call the uppity suburbs of Phoenix, the suburbs where people made more money. Scottsdale, Fountain Hills, those kinds of higher rent districts, I'll put it that way. Long story short, they sold out the first trail ride and actually had to organize a second one. So the stable was very thrilled with the results that we got. Should you set a budget for ads? Absolutely. Because if you get to talking to one of these salespeople for Facebook or Google, they are going to try to convince you to buy more ads, send those ads to a bigger audience, et cetera, et cetera. You don't need to do that. When you're first starting out, $30 a month for Facebook ads or less is fine. Do not go above this unless, of course, you know, you're Bill Gates and you've got tons of money and you don't care about spending money on ads. If you're going to do Google ads, it should be $60 or less per month. If I have to make a choice, I'll go for Facebook ads over Google ads. I will not do Google ads unless I've got extra cash. Facebook ads are much more targeted. In other words, I can really drill down and get a small group of people, and they usually have a better return on investment. That's what ROI stands for. So to go back to the stables, we were able to focus on men who were 25 to 45, men who lived in these 3 uppity suburbs, men who made over $80,000 a year, and men who had, when they set up their Facebook page, had said that they liked beer. So because of those 4 categories, we were able to narrow that ad down, and it only cost about $5. But that $5, you know, filled up one trail ride and filled up a second right after it. So I would rather be very, very targeted than sending an ad for a women's boutique out to every woman in the universe. Okie dokie, we made it. We still have 10 minutes for questions. I'm going to release my screen. And if anybody has any questions, please let me know.